Technology is changing the way we live, work, and how we manage our money. Enrique Lopezlira of the National Council of La Raza is here to help us understand why technology may be seen as a barrier for some communities. Enrique, good to have you with us here. You and I were just chatting, and you know, any sort of gains we might have made in helping minorities sort of open themselves up to the financial markets out there sort of went away when the Great Recession came.
That's right.
And it just sort of undid everything.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you know, financial advisors always say diversify your portfolio. The problem for our communities is that we were saving quite a bit prior to the crisis, but through our homes. And because the crisis was primarily driven by the housing market, our community saw the biggest hit to their portfolio. And so we have like Latinos losing 60% of their wealth, African Americans losing 40% of their wealth during the downturn, compared to, you know, whites who only lost, you know, 13 to 18% of their wealth.
And so then you have this image now of I can't trust at all. I can't trust investing in a house. That's what the American dream is all about. I'm going to buy a house, you know, it's going to increase in value, and I'm going to have a nest egg, and I don't trust anymore.
That's right. And trust is a big issue because if you talking still about the housing crisis, what we found and research has found is that a lot of minorities who qualified for safe mortgage products like a 30-year fixed rate mortgage actually were steered into predatory products that were interest-only resetting loans that are the ones who actually got in trouble and really hurt the community. So a lot of those folks really have some trust issues now with their whole real estate market. But for our community, there's always been some kind of a trust issue. The Latino community especially, you know, we have a lot of immigrants, recent immigrants still in our community, and they're coming from Latin American countries where they haven't had the best experience with some of their banking systems there, or some of the government policies that have really cost people their savings. And so, you know, saving in an institution here in the United States is a barrier in itself for many of them because they're still having some of the experiences of the past that they bring with them.
And then African Americans also are distrustful of the banking system. And some of the distrust might be just fear of the unknown, or just having an image in your mind of what this entails, and then that's not it at all, but you are reticent to approach banking institutions. But people do have bank accounts.
They do.
And they do have checking and savings accounts.
That's right, but they're not maximizing fully all the products and services that are available to them by having that relationship. And part of that is because they might have a relationship with the bank just by having an account, but they don't have a relationship with the person at the bank. And for our communities, it's very important to have that one-on-one trust relationship with somebody. And that's something that I think could be improved by the institutions themselves if they understood that it's not just important to have a bank account, but to have a relationship with that customer to help them maximize that account.
And then it would also help minorities understand what else a bank can do for you.
That's right.
If you want to even think about starting your own business, have a chat with somebody. You know Enrique at the bank. You go talk to Enrique, but they don't know, I think, all of the other things that a bank can provide, or they're afraid and think, I won't qualify.
That's right. I think, auto loans is a good example of that. You know, a lot of our communities go to the dealership for financing, where they end up getting a higher cost loan that they could if they actually got financing beforehand through their bank or credit union. So I think that's a very good example of where the institutions could help their consumers, maximize their opportunities.
So let's talk about money, too much money being paid out. Yeah. And it's these cash lending facilities that really, it's usury rates, and it's against the law. I mean, it's insane, the amount of money that some people are taking to a check cashing place in order to get their checks cashed or to pay their bills. That feels like predatory lending to me.
No, it is. And some states are actually trying to just completely outlaw those practices. But I think part of the problem is, where else are they going to turn? There's an issue with small dollar credit solutions in this country in general. And so folks who are in a pinch, who need some small amount of money to get them over the hump, they don't have the outlets to go get those products. And so they end up going to one of these cash places or title loans places, and then they're paying a much higher cost. But I think to be fair, price is more than just the interest rate. There's also an opportunity cost.
That's right.
And if you have to take your kids on a bus to go to the bank to try to get some cash or some loan, where there's a place next door where you can just go right there and get the cash you need for that emergency situation, that's an opportunity cost that it's not factored usually in the discussion.
But over time, the amount of money that you're having to give up in order to get the check cash or whatever, that ends up being an opportunity cost as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the problem with those places is not necessarily that they give you the money for the emergency, is that they keep sort of if you have some kind of problem paying, they give you a brand new loan on top of that one, and it just keeps snowballing. And before you know it, you have 2, 3
You're in too deep.
Exactly, and then now you can't get out of that. So I think those are the practices that are a real problem. Not necessarily, not so much the interest rate itself, but those kind of rolling loans that get people in trouble.
Got you. Let's talk about technology, because I'm African American and I do not trust banking online.
That's right.
And finally, my partner had to move me along. He said, no, you're going to do your checking online. I won't do it on my smartphone. Are you kidding? I'm convinced somebody's stealing my stuff.
Yes.
And then the situation happens with Target,
That's
and I'm
right.
like, well, I told you.
Yeah, I mean, all those security breaches lately have not helped any. But
everyone's like, I told you so, see?
That's right. So, what we found in our study is that, if you have access to the internet at home, you're more likely to do banking online at home. But our communities have a high penetration rate on smartphones, but like you said, they're not using that for financial transactions, and it's a huge trust factor. Just understanding, how that works and, why somebody can or cannot get access to your data is very problematic for people. So I think there's a lot of education that the financial institutions need to do to help people understand, why it's in their best interest to use some of that new technology.
And there needs to be some minority outreach. I mean, obviously, banks need to be diverse because these, typically Hispanics may feel comfortable dealing with an Hispanic and African Americans with an African American, and that's fine. But if there is no diversity within these local bank branches, then there's a hitch in the giddy-up.
Yeah, and I think that's true of not just banking sector, but corporate America in general. There's still a big problem with truly diversifying, their staff and their management, in order to understand better their customers. Minorities are projected to end up growing in this country. In the housing market, they're going to be the majority by 2020. The same for other kinds of financial products. And I think it's in the best interest of financial institutions to make sure that they're going to have the capacity to meet the needs of this population.
Enrique Lopezlira with La Raza, thank you so much for coming on. This is a very important topic, and I'm going to try to get better and think about using my phone.
Absolutely.
Food for the body and the mind when school ends for the summer. We'll explain next on DC Breakdown. Stay with us.